Hey, I'm MJ Sweet for SweetsBench.com, and right now we're going to talk about front derailleurs. Ask any mechanic out there, the best front derailleur is no front derailleur at all. But for those of you that insist, here's a video that's going to show you how to adjust your front derailleur. Now before you adjust your front derailleur, you want to make sure your rear derailleur is working properly. So watch our video on adjusting your rear derailleur first if you need some help.
For this job, all you need is a 5mm Allen wrench, a Phillips head screwdriver, some chain lube, and a shop rag. It's hard to adjust broken equipment, so before you get started, check the status of your equipment. First, look over your cable and housing. If the cable or housing is frayed or broken, then you need to replace it. Watch our video on replacing shifter cables for help. Next, make sure your shifter is working by detaching the cable and shifting through all the gears. Mountain shifters will contain one less click than the amount of gears. Road shifters will have more clicks due to a trim adjustment that we'll explain later. Leave the cable detached for now. Check your derailleur to see if the cage is bent. The outside of the cage should run in a straight line. Check for overall wear on the derailleur by giving it a little wiggle. If it has a lot of play, then the springs and pivots are most likely worn and the whole derailleur should be replaced. The first step to adjusting your front shifting is making sure your front derailleur is in the right location. You can do this by looking at the derailleur first from the side view. You want to see that the cage is 1 to 2 millimeters above the biggest chain ring when it's shifted out there. Do this by using your fingers to pull the derailleur out and looking at the distance between the bottom of the cage and the top of the chain ring. Next, you want to make sure the cage is aligned with the chain rings. This is done by looking down from the top to see that it runs parallel with the chain rings. If you need to change the placement or alignment, it's done by loosening your front derailleur clamp bolt and moving it by hand to the desired location. Careful of over-torquing this bolt though, because you could crack or dent your frame or derailleur mount. Now you're ready to adjust the low limit. Now this is a very important step to the process, as this is what keeps your chain from falling off to the inside. Start by shifting the rear derailleur into the lowest gear. This moves the chain as far inside as it's going to go. Now use the low limit screw to move the derailleur just until it touches the chain, then back it off 1 millimeter. Once this is done, you're ready to reattach the cable and set the cable tension. Start by closing any barrel adjusters and releasing all the cable from the shifter by clicking into the lowest gear. The derailleur should have an obvious notch in it to show where the cable should be clamped. It can be found under the bolt. Pull the cable tight with your fingers and clamp it to the derailleur. Remove any slack by opening the barrel adjuster. Pedal and shift up 1 click. It should go to the next chain ring, unless you have a road shifter with trim adjustments. Then it'll only move halfway to the next gear. Trim adjustment is used to prevent chain rub. Use the trim adjustment when in the higher gears in the rear. To go past your trim and shift directly to the next ring, just push the shifter as far as it'll go. The chain should move to the next gear effortlessly. If it doesn't make the shift, then try tightening the cable by opening the barrel adjuster. If it overshifts, then loosen the cable by closing the barrel adjuster. If you have a triple, that means 3 rings in the front, just shift 1 more time to get yourself into the biggest chain ring. Now you can adjust your high limit. The high limit is used to make sure your chain doesn't shift off the biggest ring. Adjust this by turning the high limit screw just until the derailleur touches the chain, then back it off 1 millimeter or 2. That's it. Now put a little chain lube on the pivot points and try out your shifting. You should have perfect front shifting right now. If you don't, you can do some fine-tuning with the barrel adjuster. Remember, the front derailleur is one of the more touchy pieces of equipment on your bike, so don't get frustrated if you don't get it tuned correctly the first time. Be patient, and if all else fails, buy your mechanic a 6-pack and watch him go. Thanks for watching.